Whereas in C programming, we are using top-down approaches. But whereas in C++, we are using bottom-up approaches. Whereas when they come on history of C++, until 1980, C programming was widely popular on that time. What do you mean by case sensitive? It means that if I'm going to write in capital letter, then it's going to give specific meaning. If I'm going to write in small letter, then also it will going to give specific meaning. Welcome back to one and all. Myself, Vasanta, lecturer in Computer Science, Vidhyaashram, Pre-University College, Temple of Excellence, Mysore. Today, we are going to start with the first session of Introduction to C++. Whereas on this session, you will come to know regarding the introduction regarding C++, then which are the major characteristics of C++, C++ character set as well as C++ tokens. Under that, the classification on C++ tokens regarding that you will come to know on today's session. Whereas when they come on history of C++, whereas it's an advanced version of C programming. Whereas in C programming, we are using top-down approaches. But whereas in C++, we are using bottom-up approaches, as well as in C++, we are using the main concept called as class. And it's an advanced version of C programming. Whereas when they come on history of C++, until 1980, C programming was widely popular on that time, and slowly people started realizing the drawbacks of this language. Whatever problems in C programming we have, that problems are overcome by C++. At the same time, a new programming approach that was object-oriented programming is introduced. The C++ programming language was created by Brent Stirrup and his team at Bell Laboratory. They developed this C++ concept, and C++ superset of C, because any valid C programming is valid C++ programming, but not vice versa. And here it's an advanced version of C programming concept. And with that, C++ can make use of existing C software libraries. Whatever programs, whatever library functions we have in C, that also considered in C++, and with major additional of class constructs here. Major advantages in C++, we are using class concept. This language was called C with class also. I can call this C with class or C++ also. As the name C++ implies, C++ was derived from C programming language. ++ is the increment operator in C. It's an advanced version. When they come on characteristics of C++, here it is an object-oriented programming. It mainly concentrates on object rather than procedure. And portability is there here. The program can work in any system. And with that, modular programming concept is there. That means we can able to divide the large program into sub-program. The technique can be called as modularization, and the sub-programs can be called as modules here. It means that in this I can use modular approaches also. And C compatibility and speed is also more, and it is more flexibility. I can able to adopt any additional versions here, and wide range of library functions are there. In this, we have additional library functions are there, and system software development is also easy here. These are the major characteristics of C++. And with that, when they come on object-oriented programming, it allows the programmer to design the application like a communication between object rather than on a structured sequence of code. It mainly concentrates on object rather than procedure. But when we come on portability, we can compile the same C++ code in almost any type of computer. The same program will work in any type of computer. And modular programming, already I told you, application body in C++ can be made up of several source code files that are compiled separately and then linked together. by after processing that. It means that I can divide the large program into small unit and then we can able to solve. And C compatibility. Any code written in C can easily included in C++ programming without making any changes. Without making any changes, the same program we can able to work on C++ also. And speed wise, already I told you, when we come on speed, the resulting code from a C++ compilation is very efficient due to its duality as high level and low level languages. And mission independent also is there. It means that the same program will work in any computer. It is a mission independent language. It is not dependent on the machine. It is a machine independent language also. Flexibility. It is highly flexible language and versatility is there here. And wide range of library function. Already I told you it has huge library functions here. It reduces the code development time and also reduces the cost of software development time also. And system software development, it can use it for developing system software also here. Next, when we come on C++ character set, which are the major characters here we can able to use. When we come on character set means the valid set of characters that a language can recognize here. Which are the characters the C++ can recognize here. Under that, we may have alphabets like upper characters from A to Z and lower case character like small letter A to Z. Then digits from 0 to 9, all the digits it recognizes. With that, some special characters like comma, colon, exclamation, left bracket, right bracket, periods, all these things can be called it as special character, less than, greater than, tilde operator, plus, like that we have several special characters also the C++ will recognize us. It means that C++ can recognize us both uppercase character as well as lowercase character as well as digits. With that, some special symbols also it recognizes like star, brackets, flower brackets, square bracket, all the types of symbols also it recognizes. Next, when we come on C++ tokens, what do you mean by token? Token is a smallest individual unit in a program. It's the smallest individual unit. For example, if I'm going to write A, B, then all those things can be called as token. It is the smallest individual unit in a program is known as token. Usually, you will get this question, what is token? It is the smallest individual unit in a program. This elements helps us to construct a statement, definitions, declaration and so on. And here this helps to write the construct, definition, declaration, all those things by using tokens we can able to declare that. And when we come on, tokens used in C++ are identifier. Identifier is a name given to a programming element and keywords. Here's a predefined word which having some specific meaning. Then constant or literals. Constant means its value will never change. It remains constant throughout the program. Punctuators as well as operators. Then when we come on identifier, already I told you, identifier is the name given to a programming element. It is the name given to a programming element such as a variable, functions, arrays, objects as well as class, etc. These are the identifier. For example, if I'm going to write A, that is an identifier. Then it contains letters, digits as well as underscore. If I want to declare any identifier, then some rules and regulations we have to follow. On that, it consists letters, digits as well as underscore only. The following are some of the valid identifier. For example, pen, time, here time 580 where we are given, then small letter 2 SE 2R3 like that we are written. But here we are using the special symbol called it as underscore. Only underscore we can able to use. And here if you observe here, compulsory we have to start with the characters. And here it's a combination of characters and digits. And here except underscore we are not supposed to use any other special symbols. Then some rules we have to follow while creating identifier. Which are the major rules we have to follow? Identifier are a sequence of character which should be begin with alphabet either from A to Z or capital A to Z, small letter A to Z or underscore. If I want, I can begin with the capital letter or a small letter or I can use underscore. But we are not supposed to begin with the numbers. Here, if you observe here, in the beginning, I have not started with numbers. It means that the first rule itself, if I want to write or create any identifier, must and should start with alphabets, where it may be capital letter A to Z or small letter A to Z. And with that, if I want, I can use underscore. Because in the exam, you may going to get the question for 5 marks, write the rules to write an identifier. The second rules, C++ treats uppercase and lowercase characters differently. Both are different. If I am going to write data in capital letter as well as in small letter data, then both are different. It is a case sensitive programming. What do you mean by case sensitive? It means that if I am going to write in capital letter, then it is going to give specific meaning. If I am going to write in small letter, then also it will going to give specific meaning. No special characters are allowed except underscore. Already I told you, here if you observe, only underscore I can use. Except underscore, we are not supposed to use any special characters here. Then identifier should be single word. It should be single word. Blank space cannot be included in an identifier. In between, if I want to declare any identifier, in between, we are not supposed to give any space. If I want to use, I can use underscore only. In between, spaces are not allowed. Compulsory, it is single word only. Reserved keyword should not be used as identifier. Reserved keyword like for example if, else, if else if, switch, go to, break, like that keywords cannot be used as an identifier. Identifier should be reasonable length only. These are the few rules we have to follow. Next, when we come on keyword, what do you mean by keyword? Already I told you, keyword is a predefined word which having some specific meaning and it will perform specific task only. Keyword is a predefined word. Already it is defined, already it is stored and it will perform some specific task that gives special meaning to the compiler. The programmer is not allowed to change its meaning. The user cannot able to change the meaning also here. It is already defined and it is compiler is also recognized it. Next, these are reserved for special purpose and must not be used as identifier naming also. While for example go to. Go to is not an identifier because reserved keyword. Some example like for I cannot consider as a identifier, it's a keyword. If, else, this, do, float, while, switch, etc. These are the some of the few keywords. Next, when we come on constant, what do you mean by this constant? Already I told you, constant means the name itself suggesting constants. Its value will never change during the execution of the program. It remains constant only. The constants are the identifier whose value does not change during the execution of the program. At the execution time, its value will never change. It is constant. Constant are sometimes referred as an literals also. And constants or literals may be any one of the following like integer constant, it may be integer constant or floating constant, character constant or a string constant. When you come on constant, it may be integer, float, character as well as string. But when you come on integer constant, then once again it is classified as a decimal. In decimal, it contains totally 10 digits, starts from 0 to 9. Then octal constant, it consists the digits totally 8 digits but starts from 0 to 7. Then hexadecimal. In hexadecimal, it contains totally 16 digits. It starts from 0 to 9 with that A to F. Then unsigned constant. These are the classification under integer constant. One by one we'll discuss integer constant. Integer constant is a whole number which can have either positive or negative number. For example, if I'm going to write 2, that is an integer number. 2 point. If I'm going to write any number 0, 1, anything, then it cannot be called as an integer. It's a float value. After point, if you have any values, then it cannot be called as integer. Integer means the whole number. Any number 2, 3, 5, 6. If I'm going to write 24, that is an integer number. If it is float means then it contains the fractional part also. They do not have fractional part or exponents in integer constant. We can specify integer constant in decimal, octal, hexadecimal format, where integer may be decimal, octal as well as hexadecimal format also we can able to represent. Decimal integer constant. It consists of any combination of digits taken from the set 0 to 9. Already I told you decimal means total digits contains 10 digits, starts from 0 to 9 only. For example, int a equals 100. It's a decimal number because 100 is an integer value. Then int b equals minus 145. It is a negative decimal number. For example, c equals 065. Learning 0 specify it's an octal constant, not a decimal. Because in the beginning, if it starts with 0, then it is a octal constant. If I am going to write only 65, that is a decimal number. 065, that's an octal number. Next, when you come on octal integer constant, it consists of any combination of digits taken from the set 0 to 7 only. Here it contains total digits 8, starts from 0 to 7. For example, a equals 0374 because it starts from 0, that's why it's an octal integer. Then b equals 097. Whereas 9 is not an octal digit. It cannot be considered as an octal constant because here 9 is not belongs to the octal number. Whereas in octal 0 to 7 only. Next, hexadecimal integer constant. A sequence of digits begins with a specification with OX or small letter OX. It's a specification, it's a prefix with OX. And followed by sequence of digits in the range from 0 to 9 and A to F. See here, example, int A equals 0x34. Like that, it starts prefix with OX. That's an hexadecimal integer constant. Next, unsigned constant. The last one is unsigned constant. To specify an unsigned type, use either U or capital letter U or small letter U suffix. To specify long type, use either capital L or small l suffix. For example, unsigned A equals 328U. From this, I can say that it's an unsigned value. One more, long B equals, here we are given some value, but at the end, L we are written. It means that long value specifier as a constant here. It's a hexadecimal constant here. Unsigned long here, it is a unsigned long value as a octal constant. Next, when they come on floating point constant. Floating means here in this we have fractional part also. After point, if you have some values, then it can be called as floating constant. Here floating constant are also called as real constant also. These values contains digits, decimal point, especially it contains the decimal points in the digits, and it contains exponents also. They are used to represent values that will have fractional part, and it can be represented in two forms, that is fractional form or exponential form also. In exponential form also we can able to represent, as well as in fractional part also we can able to represent. Floating point constant have mantissa, which specifies the value of the number, and exponential, which specifies the magnitude of the number. This is regarding floating point constant. When they come on floating point constant, the mantissa specifies sequence of digits followed by period. It's a sequence of characters, sequence of numbers especially, here followed by periods and followed by an optional sequence of digits representing the fractional part of the number. And exponential, if the present, specifies the magnitude of the number as power of 10 also. In the format of, for example, 256 into 10 to the power of whatever number you want, that is in the format of 10 minus 10, like that. In the format of exponential, we can able to represent here. Then the next one, character constant. What do you mean by this character constant? In this, character constants are specified as single character enclosed in a pair of single quotation marks. For example, if I'm going to have A, that's a character, it is opened as well as closed by single quote. A single character consists of as D or R will have character data type. This character contains will have unsigned numerical value. The numerical value are ASCII values which are numbered sequentially for both uppercase or lowercase letters here. For example, ASCII values A is 65 and B is 66 and Z is 90. In uppercase, A represent 97, B represent 98 and Z represents 122. Like this, it will go to represent character constant. In character constant, the main thing you have to remember, only one character we have, whereas it is opened as well as closed by single quotes. Then when they come on character constant, escape sequence like slash, single quotes, escape sequence like this you have to represent, meaning double quotes. Here question mark, here blank slash, like that one by one everything we can able to represent. For example, single quotes, question mark like this format, null character, then blank space, new line. If I want to represent new line, slash n, slash t represents horizontal tab, slash triple n represents arbitrary octal value. In the same way, here this represents double quotes. If you have double slash, then blank space, slash a represent audible bell. If we are going to represent slash f, new page, slash r, carriage, return, slash v, vertical tab. Like that, all the things you can able to represent here. Then next, when you come on string constant. Whereas in character constant, only one character we have, whereas string is nothing but collection of characters can be called as string. For example, if I am going to write n, then it is a character. For example, NAME, if I am going to write, that is a collection of characters, then it can be called as string. Whereas in a character, it is opened as well as closed by single quotes, whereas in string, it is opened as well as closed by double quotes. A string consists of 0 or more characters enclosed by double quotes, especially here. Multiple character constant are called string constant and they are treated as an array of character. Array of character. Why it is called as array of character? Whereas array is nothing but collection of homogeneous elements. If I am going to type array of character means all the elements of type character format here. By default, compiler adds a special character called null character at the end of the string to make the end of that string here. For example, char str15. It means that here totally 15 characters are there by the name str. It is a character of array format here. Next, we will come on punctuators. What do you mean by this punctuator? In C++ have syntactic and semantic meaning to the compiler. Some punctuators can be either alone or in combination also. The following are some of the punctuators like exclamation, here percentage symbol, ampersand, semicolon, brackets, parenthesis here. If you have regular bracket, parenthesis, then flower brackets, then hash sign, here blank slash, here colon equals to, like that we have several punctuators are there. Now is it clear for all of you? Next class, we will meet you once again with the remaining concept of the same chapter. Thank you for all of you.